and I really want it back. I don't wanna feel like I might be a sociopath. I deleted my heart. I was young and impulsive, and I would download another, but I'm afraid it wouldn't fit. I deleted my heart. 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 Heart, heart, heart.
All right. What's up? How's everybody doing today? Man, it has been a crazy few days. You want to hear something crazy, by the way, while we start this out? So, the live stream that I did, that I had to leave early on the last live stream that I did. I got a call in and everything. That live stream got ghosted. Like it, once it stopped live, it was like it didn't exist. I went to bed. I got up to see how many hits it had, and it had 3. 3. So I actually did not set it to private until the next day after I thought that was fascinating with the Dan Wootton story. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. A lot of this stuff, considering how big Dan Wootton really is too, it's not very surprising. I mean, there is a lot of interest, a lot of money behind that man. So yeah, we'll see it. Hey, Fallen Hero, thank you for that gifted membership, by the way. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, it was weird. People were like, I can't find it. Yeah, it was actually live. Like that was the weird thing. Like some of them I do set to private, and that one I didn't think about. I actually went and did something else. I came back the next day, and it was well, it was ghosted. So if this one gets ghosted, well, at least it'll be an interesting ride. So over the last couple of days, we've had some interesting stuff. I do want to go over Dan Wootton's statement on this. Then I want to show you something that's really new. And boy, oh boy, is it getting bad for Dan Wootton. Now, when I'm talking about this too, I want to make something very clear, as I have made clear every single time with this. I'm not saying that I believe anything with Dan Wootton and accusations. I do not believe in accusation culture, so I do not believe that accusations make you guilty. I am sick, however, of people like a Dan Wootton that go out, they use this listen and believe standard, they apply it to everyone else. They've applied it to many people, including He didn't just take the stance on depth that we've talked about. He took the stance on journalists, another journalist. He was calling for their suspension. He was doing it last week. He was very clear about it. He kept pushing for it and more. What's up, Cougar Curls, by the way? The bigger you are, the harder you fall. Indeed, indeed, indeed. That is very true. And yeah, I mean, again, he's burned a lot of people. He's burned a lot of them to the ground. There was his statement, in fact. Listen to this. I'm just going to read it before we do this. This was on that Philip Schofield. And again, I have not even looked into the whole Philip Schofield thing, but it doesn't matter. It's over accusations and rumors. Dan Wootton said the following, quote, "With the current rumors and accusations swirling around Philip Schofield, why is he still on our screens? Why have ITV not suspended him pending an internal inquiry? I would have thought in this day and age that a mainstream broadcaster such as ITV ought to be seen doing all it can to deal with issues like this, find out where the truth lies, and in the meantime, suspend those whose the rumors concern." So he called for that. He called for the direct action of suspension. Other people, journalists, I like to put journalists in quotations, but still, he called for that. So, this is what irritates me. It always, and I understand what people say on this too, but it always kills me when we get to the point of they have a certain principle that they espouse, whether they believe it or not. They back it until they get accused. Then they flip the switch and they're like, hey, you guys over there, you guys that I called cultists and I tried to cancel and more, you need to defend me. And I'm tired of that because the only way that this stuff changes is when you let them fall. You let them play by their own rules. It has nothing to do with your values. You just sit back and watch the fireworks. And you laugh about it. And you review it under the again, if accusation equals guilt, then I guess I'm looking at everything from a guilty perspective according to that person. I mean, again, that's the same as respecting anything else in this day and age, right? I'm supposed to respect people for a million different things. Well, why wouldn't I respect them for that? Of course they don't want it, right? Naomi, thank you for those 5 gifted memberships, by the way. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we're gonna I do. I very much appreciate that. I appreciate all of you folks too. I mean, this has been fascinating to watch the fall here and seeing where the pieces will go. Now, this is Dan Wootton's 6 minutes on the whole controversy. And like I said, after we look at this, I want to show you some new stuff because it sounds like again, there have we know for a fact that there have been items turned over. They turned over to police. We're hearing about lawyers getting involved. I mean, it sounds, yeah, somebody's getting sued. So it's going to be fascinating to look at. But anyway, let's listen to old Danny Boy and hear what he has to say.
Britain's News Channel. I'm Dan Wootton. And as a journalist, I feel uncomfortable.
No spin, no bias, and no censorship. You know what's sad? Here's another thing that makes me sad about this. We're being told that you need to defend him too because he is anti quote unquote woke culture. The very things, the false accusation culture. That's what that means in one compressed term. I mean, that's their words. This is a plot against that, and it's like no, that the weaponization of the very thing again, he put the boot heel on before. Yeah. Anyway, continuing.
Owe it to you to address this. As you probably don't know, hopefully you don't know, because you're not insane enough to pay attention to the cesspit of social media.
The cesspit, by the way, the cesspit on social media, the same thing he weaponized when it came to Depp, right? That same cesspit, right? The one that he was proudly displaying, all of his articles on. I mean, remember that same cesspit you should never pay attention to because it's such a horrible. Oh, wait a minute, there he is. Oh, remember, it wasn't such a cesspit back in the day, right? He also has a high number of discussion. When something trends on social media, you're talking sometimes a few thousand comments on it, or really hashtag attachments or whatever. Yeah, he's had close to 100,000. Probably when you combine all the hashtags together, it's well over 100,000. So I mean, it's a big discussion point. That's the reason it's getting covered, and he's talking about it. Listen.
These past few days, I have been the target of a smear campaign by nefarious players with an axe to grind. Notably by an ex-partner who I was, and this is something I've never spoken about and it's very difficult to talk about publicly, but who I was previously abused by. And
now, again, we do not know the answer to whether or not that is true, but we've gotten to the same point where you're accused of something. No. I actually am the victim in this. I'm the victim, and this is all what happened back in our relationship. I've never talked about it before, but this is what happened. You believe me. So he's returned volley on the accusation. And it's just like I said, there's a playbook for some of this. And this is a lot of times how the playbook goes. Hey, Carol, thanks for the 5. Baby Bugs, toilet training reward fund, LOL. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've been chasing it every day. You might as well figure it's going to take me 5 minutes at least to get here because I got to chase them down. Also, Claire, Schofield was stupid. Whoops. Schofield was stupid, but didn't do anything against the law. Both sides agreed on that. Police never involved. See, I didn't even look into this Schofield stuff, just a note. So I have no commentary on that whatsoever. I just what I noticed was when the Schofield stuff came up, you had, if you don't know how this happened, okay, Dan Wootton actually caused all this to happen. Dan Wootton, he started calling for Schofield to again, you heard the statement read. All right. Well, there's a place called the Eye. They started looking into that, into the Schofield stuff. And when they did, they started commenting on Dan Wootton. They were like, it's pretty crazy. People are gobsmacked by the idea that Dan Wootton would sit here and say that, considering, and they started going over allegations about payoffs behind the scenes, about multiple people, being paid off because he was bullying, how he had gone in and done all types of other stuff. And he was doing it in 2018. That was one of the years. He did it for years, according to the accusations, but the year there were a bunch of NDAs was 2018, the year that he wrote that infamous article. Continuing.
Who has been on a campaign to destroy my life. In the past, he has written to me confessing to being a, quote, psychopath. And I saw this firsthand when he threatened in writing to, quote, slit my throat many years after we had broken up. I have been forced to report his behavior and threats to police. They are now investigating. He has created
They are now investigating. Okay, so you notice the wording there. It wasn't a prior. See, the wording there is very tricky, but he's like, well, this happened in the past, that happened in the past. I am forced to they are now investigating. So it sounds like, again, Dan Wootton can correct all of this. Maybe I'm just reading into the wording, but it very much sounds like, yeah, he reported to the police after all of that. And Dan Wootton is very litigious. It's interesting because, he's gone in with the listen and believe side, but he's used the police like a hammer against many a person in the past. That is legit 100%. When all the Carolyn Flack stuff came up, he was dropping that hammer on all types of people. What's up, Pix? Thanks for the 5. Just wanted to hear Tug say his favorite word, y'all, monster. You're going to be greedy and go with some more y'all. Okay, back to work, monster. Thank you. Continue.
Untrue story about me and appears to have been working with an organization who are intent on closing down this channel, whose reporters include a convicted phone hacker.
Okay, so now this gets even better. Convicted phone hacker. Now you remember the past for Dan Wootton. Remember News of the World? The organization he started out with. Well, there was all that stuff about phone hacking and more. Isn't that fascinating? So the stuff that he's been accused of, he just threw it back there. I mean, this is stuff that has it has followed him throughout his career. The accusations of using any means to stalk celebrities and more. Well, and you notice he just weaponized the channel. He's like, oh, this is really this unspoken group of nefarious people. They're out to destroy this channel. They're going to try to take this channel down. And you know what we cover, baby. We're the anti-woke. So got to get on board, baby. Again, ah, the rally cries. It's fascinating to see. Again, so many. There's always deviation to the way that this plays, but there is a playbook. There's always a playbook. it's so interesting. Continuing.
The Guardian has also reported it tonight. What a surprise.
Oh, we're going to see The Guardian, by the way. Whoop, whoop. We're going to read that. Oh, man. Yeah, and of course, The Guardian, it was fascinating how they waited. You know, all these places, too, are saying, well, we've been investigating Dan Wootton for 3 years. And the one thing I found kind of crazy about that, it was like, are you telling us that you've had information on this guy for 3 years? So if all of this was happening, you just sat on it? Huh. That's not a good look. If they're telling me that this man was doing some of the things that they accused him of, going out and basically picking up blackmail imagery and more, and they just sat on it while they were reporting, that is a little that's a little more than disconcerting. What's up, John? Thanks for the 8 months. Don't know much about this guy, but this audio, which I heard on the radio today around lunchtime, screams to me, I'm loudly proclaiming I'm gay because women accuse me of bad stuff. Yeah, actually, no, it's men accusing him of bad stuff. It's men. He's got over, I think there actually are a dozen accusers. That, again, quantity does not mean anything, just saying the number there. Where, again, there was a catfishing scheme. And the catfishing scheme, supposedly, again, by accusation, involved old workers with the sun. I mean, it's crazy stuff, which we'll have a go breakdown of. Cougar Curls, thanks for that 10 there. Flight, indeed. Thank you.
Other unspeakable slurs have been made by a convicted extortionist I have never even met.
Okay, now he's talking about the person that said back in with the MTV Music Awards thing that essentially Dan Wootton had cornered him. They had never met before, but he had done his background on him, et cetera, et cetera. That's the one. That's what he's talking about, the convicted extortionist.
Who has a long history of blackmailing gay men and was sent to jail for a number of years by a judge who said his behavior was, quote, compulsive and provided a high risk to the public. I, like all fallible human beings, have made errors of judgment in the past. But
now I wonder about that. That is just something that was left hanging out there. With the accusations that have come up, errors of judgment in the past. What does that mean? I mean, that's an apology statement. Here's the thing, and Dan Wootton would be very aware of this. You never apologize for a nothing burger. You never apologize. You never apologize for the way people perceive you. Well, if you think I did something and I offended you, I apologize. You never do that. And I mean, Dan Wootton, again, you talk about back against the wall. That's the kind of stuff. When you have this coming up, that is a desperation, Phil. Jen, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, by the way. Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you very much. And John, thanks for the 10. Apologies if I got it wrong, but there was a statement recently from an escort saying DW took advantage of them. I heard the escort was assumed female. Yeah. It's a male, actually. Male escort. No, that's good. I mean, it's fine. Like, you can't keep up with with so many statements. But yes, a male escort that had put that statement out there. And yeah, they're the ones that Dan Wootton is saying that has a history of blackmailing. So they're saying He's saying my ex is lying. All of my previous coworkers are essentially, they're all lying. This extortionist, they're talking about the escort, they're lying. And again, they could all be. But here's the danger with playing a listen and believe. When you juggle, it's an adage I go back to but quite a bit. You can put on a hell of a show juggling dynamite. I mean, if you imagine that, sitting on the roadside juggling a little dynamite, yeah, it's a hell of a show, but why would you want to? Because one day it's going to blow up in your face. That's what happens when you juggle, listen, and believe. And the problem is when that happens, people like Dan Wootton, they do a call to arms and they say, all of you need to stand with me, even though 2022, he was calling you all cultists. He was saying that you're monsters. Half the people I see standing up saying, well, my values say that I have to give him the benefit of the doubt, due process. That's fine. But you ain't got to take his hand and walk his ass across the road. You remind him, this was your choice. You did this. He tried to destroy a man's life for over half a decade. Half a day. He's did this longer than when the little kid comes down here and talks in the live streams, comes down. He's done that longer than she's been alive. Like that's crazy when you think about it. He returned volley again and again. He did it in the height of Me Too. Not only did he didn't regurgitate accusations either. If he would have just gone in and covered something, okay. He didn't though. He put an article together calling for the career of somebody, trying to destroy their lives. And again, anybody that even questioned you are a cultist, a monster, and more. But hey, don't listen. You need evidence now. What's up, Manic Malice? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Oh, I love those freaking totem cactus, by the way. I also got a pickle cactus. Oh, that thing is so cool. Oh, I love these things. Anyway, let's continue. I'll get off topic.
Criminal allegations being made against me are simply untrue. I would like nothing more than to address those spurious claims. I could actually spend the next 2 hours doing so, but on the advice of my lawyers, I cannot comment further. But I have been thinking much over the past few days about the current state of social media, where any allegation can be made in an attempt to get someone cancelled, but it is impossible to defend yourself against thousands of trolls.
Screw yourself. This makes me mad when I heard it. I was like, Dan Wootton was right in the front line carrying the torches and pitchfork. He was right there. So when he's saying, oh, you can't defend yourself again, man, how the days change. It just changes like, bam. I was thinking about the status. You made this world, Dan. You made this. You and people just like you. Again, people like myself and everyone else that's listening to this, the people that say you need evidence for something, we were treated like monsters. We were vilified. In fact, if you look over the times, lives threatened, children threatened, jobs threatened. I mean, the insanity that has come with that. But now it's a bridge too far. Why is it a bridge too far? Because Dan Wootton, he was accused. Because now he is on trial in social media. He's no longer judge, jury, and executioner. That's when it becomes a problem. That's why I have no tolerance for this kind of stuff. And I have no tolerance for again, like I said, I understand that there are 2 mindsets that hit here. There's the mindset of your values, but I don't think like a Dan Wootton truly has values. So I'll say the principles he espouses, the things that he says he believes in, because I think he believes in one thing, and it's whatever furthers Dan Wootton at the time. So I don't I don't actually think that there's a value there, but he thought what would further him for the longest time. Again, using a man's life and livelihood as a stepping stone. And it wasn't just one person. That's the other thing you have to get in there. Hey, what's up, Manic Malice? Thanks for the 5. Working and lurking. Can't stay in chat, but wanted to drop some love to you all while we watch false accusers fail. Glad you love the cactus. I do indeed. And thank you for being here. And also, what's up, my friend? It's good to see you. It's the anti-Bouzy. Thanks for the He met with J.K. Rowling to remove JD from movie. Actually, you want to hear a little scuttlebutt behind the scenes? You want to hear something that you don't really know that much about? Do you realize how much damage that Dan Wootton and other people tried to do behind the scenes? Because from what I understand, I'm not saying he himself approached, but people connected to all of that. They didn't just go for J.K. Rowling. They went for higher ups with Warner Brothers. In fact, we found out later on that the only way that Depp kept Fantastic Beasts 2 was he had rock solid proof. And at the time, this was before J.K. Rowling became a social media firestorm, when her value at Warner Brothers decreased. Her value may be on the rise again because they want to, relaunch after the video game success. That is pretty much bolstered to the top. But for a while, she went into a lull. And whatever she said, it didn't matter. She was more worried about her survival, I imagine, than anything else. You could see Warner. They were trying to clip her out of things. They were taking her name off of everything. But during 2, the lengths to which people had to go to undo the damage, it wasn't just words, it was actions. Everything that you saw, that's just the tip of that proverbial iceberg. It was a concerted effort to ruin somebody, to destroy their entire life. Like I said, there is so much more under that. People have no clue. And I mean, again, what you saw was bad enough. Weaponization of Me Too. Directly. I mean, he quoted it in there. He took people and falsely quoted them, falsely utilized them in the article because, they're part of that. They have to be part of these accusations here. He falsely quoted that. He did everything that he could. And again, so many people linked to that. They did so much more. That's why, some of the Warner hierarchy, when it got really lively, you saw their reactions to it. They had already been, they had been talked into allowing something to go forward. And you saw that with Fantastic Beasts 3. But the problem was that Depp wasn't willing to lay down and die. He wasn't willing to do that for a paycheck. And it worked out for him. But look at how many years that took. And that Warner hierarchy, I mean, again, you saw their reaction there. That's because, again, they didn't have a poison pen. They didn't have just somebody whispering, hey, this guy's a monster. They had people actively going up to the highest ranks in there. And again, one of his loudest advocates, I mean, she lost power. But anyway, let's continue.
That said, I am coming on air tonight with a lot of humility too. I think being in the middle of this witch hunt has made me think a lot about the sort of journalist and broadcaster I aspire to be. One focused on the massive political threats facing this country, not on personal attacks.
That is the easiest way out too. This basically, the galvanization of science, first of all, I can't speak. Politics. There we go. It's easier. But when you take things and you part them neatly down the middle and you pretend it's one or the other, that's what we've seen so many people utilize. Again, I've talked at length about Roberta Kaplan, for example. #Time's Up. That lady, she was involved in scamming tens of millions of dollars out of people. Essentially, they put it into payroll. They put it into their own pockets. They didn't put it into a stated purpose. Then they were doing all kinds of other crazy stuff. Well, guess what? She's still a media darling. Why? Politics. That is it. And if you look at the responses to this stuff, it works. This works. Oh, well, I just want to focus on the politics. I want to make sure. And it's like, no. So, Francis Williams, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs Thugs, by the way. Let's continue.
I mean, who doesn't have regrets? Should I be cancelled for them many years later? Or do you accept that I have learned and changed?
Many years later, again, my regrets. So is he talking about the things that he did that he apologized for? Is he saying, I see there was a lot of inference drawn from this. A lot of people were saying, well, he's really apologizing with that. That son of a bitch had to be canceled before he did anything. Now he regret. Now, my God, man, he was quoting people like Bar. That person tried to destroy so many people. Now she's begging for change on Substack, saying, "Oh man, if you'd kindly please subscribe." 5 likes because she's sitting in the corner by herself. But she went out of her way to destroy people. Myself, I mean, these people took direct aim at many of us. Not just me when I say that. Many of us that we had a voice in that. You know how much Dan Wootton is used as a freaking hammer because of his continuing going back. But now he's learned the error. He didn't learn shit. He got canceled. Now the rules change. I've said this for years. This is how it goes. They say they are firmly allies, listening believers, whatever, until they face accusations. If they can't quietly deal with them with threats, they give people cease and desist, or they try to weaponize the law, then they expect you to do their fighting for them. And many people fall for that. Like I said, it will never change because they never truly learn. Let them reap their whirlwind. They made it. They set the house on fire. Ugh, kills me. And that is no shot at anybody either. I'm not saying that's me just venting because it frustrates me. Like I said, I understand because they play your own value system against you because ultimately they have no value. Jim, thanks for the 10. Someone needs to ask and have T. Wootton explain what he's learned and what he's sorry for and put it on TV. Good luck. Snakes in Suits by Robert Hare. Equals Wootton. Yeah, here's the thing too. People have been saying, well, since there was the case in the UK, maybe he can't apologize. Come on, man. Really? I mean, the vindication, he could literally say, well, after seeing what happened in the courtroom, I acknowledge, maybe there was something. But no, of course not. And again, he did it while the trial was going on. He was good with it. The world is speaking up, saying, man, this is jacked up. What's he doing? He's right there in the middle of it. Plain as day, ruining lives. John, thanks for the 20 there. There's been some talk lately about Whoopi being against, I'm going to say SOF. There's a soundbite making the rounds when you're 7 and getting, it feels good. Evidence is thin as of yet, but thoughts. Do you realize, here's a crazy thing. So that movie you just mentioned, do you realize that this platform, interestingly, has demonetized 3 channels over that so far? Struck many others. That should get the mind. I mean, that's crazy, right? Different discussion, but still, that's a crazy thing too. And Susie, thanks for the 2. Ain't no fun when the rabbit's got the gun. Karma, indeed. Continue.
The last few years, I've grown professionally and personally. And I've also found the meaning of true love after that truly toxic relationship with my ex that hurt me and damaged me. I've found happiness in my personal life with my wonderful boyfriend who is here tonight.
2 years. So, okay, he's grown in the last 2 years. Well, you realize that as he grew in the last 2 years, just a few weeks ago, again, that thing I read to you about him wanting to cancel another journalist, saying accusations that should get you suspended. Yeah, that falls in that. Oh, that article during the trial, all the stuff he said there, with the JD stuff, yeah, that falls in the growth pattern. So he's grown and learned. Last 2 years, he's become a better journalist. He says, oh, man, man. Claire, thanks for the problem is there's been no receipts dropped. Yeah, exactly. Like when I'm saying the accusations against Dan Wootton, they have no credibility with me. I'll make that very clear. They have no credibility with me because there's no proof of it. Having said that, Dan Wootton needs to cancel himself because he's a fraud. I don't know how to make that any clearer. He needs to cancel himself. It shouldn't be up to you and I. It should be going with the same thing that you've professed again and again. If you're a listening believer, when you get accused, cancel yourself and just, because you will. Sooner or later, if you don't believe in evidence with accusations, you will be accused of something. It is the way of social media. Good God, the things that come up. There may be things, too, that need explanation in your life. There may be, who knows what comes up. People do, again, have all kinds of stuff. I'm not talking about like assaults or anything else. I'm just talking about anything. Anything will be weaponized. Anything. It doesn't matter what's there. That's evidence. You're saying we need to take an evidence-based approach, but that's not what they're saying. They say accusation equals substantiation. You're canceled because someone comes out and says something, and we have seen it a million times over. And these jackals, they're always in the front row, always taking people down. Gloria, thanks for the 5. Whose bingo card had DW taken a page from AH book, A Fake Victimhood? I expected Dan Wootton to. I said this when his article came out, when the other articles came out. I said, wait, because Dan Wootton will not just get a small accusation, because he's been accused of stuff before. I said, just wait for it, because Dan Wootton, sooner or later, he will reap that whirlwind. I mean, that's how it works. Everybody gets their turn. Some of these people are monsters too. I'm not saying every accusation's fake. There are plenty of monsters out there, but I'm saying everyone gets accused. You get any note, even it's shocking. Even at you could have 13 followers on Twitter, never done anything else, never had a YouTube channel or anything else, and you say the wrong thing for somebody, they could accuse you of anything else, try to ruin your life and everything. It doesn't matter about size, but as you get bigger, yes, they definitely will. But continue.
My friends and family and my world, the toll that this has taken on their mental health, well, I mean, that is literally killing me to watch. There is a reason why I have, since day one on this show, had a segment called Uncancelled. Because our rush to judge.
Oh my God! I've had uncancelled because our rush to judgment. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That sounds like insulation, hoping that when it comes for you, yeah. I swear. Again, I stand against the very thing that I helped build. It's playing both sides of the fence. And it works. The saddest part in this is that it works. I mean, and for real, it does. It works.
Before due process, thanks in my case to the mad ramblings of highly politicized Twitter trolls and revolting blogs that eschew basic journalistic standards, is destroying democracy.
Basic journalistic standards, by the way. So he's telling you that the stuff he wrote with The Sun The accusations that he threw out and the accusations he's thrown out again and again, those somehow had journalistic standards. I'm like, are you kidding me? You work for a tabloid, son, a tabloid that had so many problems and ended up getting shut down because at the end of the day, the things that you folks were doing behind the scenes were insane. That's why when he's moved on, they're patter on his resume. But I mean, these places are monsters. They have the Sun. I mean, they've destroyed lives. Multiple. They've accused people of some of the most heinous stuff that you could ever imagine. Gotten it wrong. Been sued. People have won against that. I mean, it's so crazy to hear. That just drives me nuts. And to say, what about okay, again, you spend 5 years trying to destroy. This is the point that I try to make with a channel. You have to watch them fall. And you have to watch them fall hard because you're making a point with it. It's not about a trial. It's about the accusations. And the only way they stop is when you watch people, they hit rock bottom and they keep going. That's the only currency that some of these folks will understand, because the reason they make accusation is they feel that there's some kind of social, financial currency in that for them. That's why they do it. And the people like Dan Wootton are just as bad as the accusers because they empower that. They push it. They push it on untold amounts of people. I mean, he's complaining about just randos on Twitter. How many people does he manage to reach every time he goes out? And again, tries to take someone down. How many people get reached that way? Jim, thanks for me, not necessarily accusations. It's Wootton behavior, writing own words. Man, dude, come on. Again, I let his own words judge him. Again, I'm ardently opposed to listen and believe culture, but I do believe in that karmatic, whatever you want to call it, karma culture or anything like that. I don't like guilt by accusation. I find it reprehensible. But false accusers getting theirs, oh, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to watch. I like to own the popcorn up. And again, we'll see how this plays on a timeline. But you notice the media, they were so scared to cover this. That was telling too. It tells you about power. And the story that you've heard about has been about power, the power to shut down accusers. Anyway, continue.
And that's why, by the way, I didn't say a word about Hugh Edwards. Not one word. No tweet was deleted by me, despite the misinformation and lies perpetuated by Carol Vorderman. I didn't know the facts, and I wasn't going to weigh in until I did.
So the facts matter, baby. The facts matter, baby. I didn't know the facts before. And facts matter to me. Yeah. We saw a presentation, a whole trial for facts. But again, the facts, they matter sometimes. I swear. Claire, thanks for Private Eye. I've done a blinding piece on him. Oh, yeah, that's the one that I went over and my live stream got ghosted. Tonight, since that one, you should watch that. If you haven't seen the Private Eye piece, you should read it. If you haven't seen the live stream, I will put that on Locals. Like I said, it was strange. I thought it was live. So, and after that, there's been some weirdness. I had a little one just wander in. So give me 1 second, okay? Hey, what you doing, kiddo? What's going on? What you doing? Huh? What's going on? What's wrong? Oh. Well, here. Why don't you take that up and you say, Sissy, look what I got now. Go. Have fun. Bye. All right. Love you. Love you. Tell Sissy to turn. Oh, you got your TV remote? Okay. Just give me a second. Love you, kiddo. Bye. Bye, baby. It's funny. Okay, let's see. All right, I'm back now. Just like I said, you have to give me a minute there. That's a that like I say, when you hear, okay, to put this into perspective, what I'm saying here, that man tried to destroy another person's life, another man's life, longer than that voice right there has been on this planet. That includes, the 9 months before. Again, when you think about it in that term, over half a decade spent destroying another person. All of these words, they're hollow. Dreadnought, thanks for the 34 months. Funny how he talks about highly politicized Twitter trolls when he's one of them. Indeed. It doesn't take much for them to cannibalize each other. Sweet karma. Indeed. And for myself, when I look at this, I feel I need to make this clear. I'm not batting for either political team. I figure, like most of us, we have our belief systems. I think mine come through. I want you to be you. You enjoy stuff. We protect kids. We protect the vulnerable. We stand against shit like this. And the others are just they're professional dividers. And they get our protection because they convince us that we're somehow on team whatever. Again, they're trying to shut down this network.
I do also note that there are dark forces out to try and take this brilliant channel down.
He said it again.
Whether it's Nigel's bank account, which we're going to hear about from him soon, Patrick's Twitter, Jacob and Lee's ability to speak out, Calvin, who is also here tonight, his right to have religious views, or Lawrence speaking out against the entertainment establishment.
What does that have to do with this, by the way? All of them. Okay, there is suppression of discussion. There very much is. There are crazy people out there. He's telling us that there is some cabal hidden behind the scenes that planned to do all of this to Dan Wootton, not to take Dan Wootton down, but to take down this specific channel. I would love to see some proof of any of that. People talked about receipts, with the accusations again. What the hell is this? Like anytime I've said, "Hey, people are aiming at my channel, trying to do damage," I provide receipts. I've shown. I think I've shown enough proof over the last few years to pretty much prove that point. This is just, insulates so much.
We have all found ourselves under attack. And that's because GB News is the biggest threat to the establishment in decades. And they'll stop at nothing to destroy us. But we will keep fighting.
The establishment, the patriarchy, anything, the buzzword. There's always a fucking buzzword. That's why I make fun of buzzwords, because buzzwords, they come from all over. They come from either side. They insulate so much. But the establishment did this. When you look at some of these folks too, it's crazy. It's the same shit I heard with Herd. There's this bot army and there's this concerted. It's like, are you kidding me? Do I sound like somebody that would participate in some unknown fucking cabal? I hate authority. I don't like being told what to do. Oh my God. But there's this unknown cabal. It's going to get them. Bella, thanks for the 5. Hey fam, can't stay long because hospital recovering from brain surgery, hurting good. Can I post my GoFundMe? If not, okay, just check it. Yeah, you can post. You can post that there if you want to. Brain surgery there. I'll check it out. Somebody link it to me actually. So send it to me in email and I'll look it over and bring it up. For a future live stream or something. I always look at GoFundMe's before everything. That's a rule. Nothing against anyone there. Just noting. But you get better too. It is. Thank you for the gifted membership too. And Twilight Dragon, thanks for the 5. I'm confused. Wasn't he all for believe all women? He was indeed. But, it's male accusers. So I guess don't believe men, though. Maybe that's why you fall into believe all men, because you're like, don't believe all men, rather. Well, that's why you shoot down men, too, right? Because, well, your accusers are going to be men. Wow. Oh, wait. That's just a trick of the cabal to say that, right? So shouldn't he be accept their logic for his fate and be canceled? Yeah, you'd expect that. You would, wouldn't you? And John, thanks for 5. I know it's an accident, but what I'm doing to continually get put in timeout. You shouldn't get put in timeout, period. Sometimes they're accidents. When there's a comment and it's held, here, John, I'll fix any problem. Here, let me fix you right now. Bam, my friend. Give me a second. There. Now you're not on timeout. All right. Better. You timeout proof, baby. Judge Girl, thanks for 3 months. What goes around comes around. Yep, indeed. It's bitten backside. That's indeed. All right, let's finish this.
Fighting for you because we are a family here. You have been with me since day one.
We're my
on
family.
what has been a life-changing experience for me, and we have each other's back. The way you have understood what's been happening these past few days, and I've seen it, I've seen your messages, I've seen what you've had to say, and that has meant the world to me. I recognize I'm a polarizing figure, and by speaking out in this way, I'm opening the gates of hell on my life. But social media has become a race to the bottom.
And he was one of the people waving the flag right there. He helped build the track. I mean, really. So it's now become one. It wasn't a race to the bottom when Me Too went sideways and everybody and their mama was getting accused and having their lives destroyed. It wasn't then. That was a different time, right? That was the glory days, right? 2018 was the glory. I mean, anybody could just, at least now, when you speak up then, people would automatically try to ruin you. And they do now, but at least there's enough people that have figured out, wait a minute, we're not standing alone in this. There are a lot of people that believe this too. What's up, Zoe? Thanks too. Tried sending an update on daughter. Unable to. Can you send it to email? Because Twitter's weird. So send it over there. Just copy and paste it and stick it in an email if you want to. And thoughts, prayers, keep Zoe in mind for sure. Hamilton, thanks for the month there. Dan Wootton is a bit like Jack the Ripper, complaining that the police aren't doing their job because he got mugged last night. Indeed. That's actually a very good analogy.
Pylons are now the way to cancel a person. Our country is better than that. We must be. We must be. And that's why GB News exists. What we're trying to do here is something different, to give a voice to the long forgotten people of the United Kingdom.
Oh, no, it's not about giving a voice to the voiceless. You know why? Because we took our voices. I'm not in the UK, but anywhere. You know what? People like that aren't your voice. You know why? Because you are your voice. Man, fucking organized channel. Man, screw all this stuff. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, you have your own voices. They're not giving you anything. They're not organizing anything. They're not changing the world. They're setting up there like a 3-piece fraud. They sat there and again, just mime stuff that he hasn't expressed. He's never expressed this mindset that he's talking about again until he's canceled. He brought up Hugh Edwards. Oh, well, I didn't cancel him. No, but you did other people, didn't you, bud? Didn't you? Those don't count, though. Those don't count. Got to leave those on the sideline. John, man, thank you for 20 gifted memberships. I saw those hidden. That was crazy looking. Thank you, man. I appreciate that, dude. And Zoe, thanks for the fun there. Daughter's operation went well. Anyone wants to send something? The list will be on my Twitter. She's doing well. And kicking the big C's buns. props, man. Zoe's been through a lot. So again, give her love. Check out her stuff for sure.
And a great man reminded me today, people don't follow you because you're right. They follow you because you're real.
Almost choked. They follow Dan Wootton because he's real. I got dolls with realer hair than that. What are you talking about, man? I mean, come on, dude, for real. Holy God. Oh, man. Oh, my Lord. Oh, you have to be kidding me. I can't believe he said that. A great man. Who said that? I said it to myself. Nancy thinks it too. He certainly doesn't speak for me. Indeed. Oh my God. That is amazing.
So thank you for your support and the support of GB News. And now, the actual news.
Now, see, he is a headline. The only reason that he brought all of this stuff up, by the way, is because the noise has gotten too loud. It has gotten very loud. It has gotten very uncomfortable. They ignored it for days. They thought if they ignored it, see, that was the old way of handling things until people like Dan Wootton, they were actually in charge. Remember, they were tabloiders first, then they carried it over. They tried to pretend that they were actually real news after that. But the way that you used to do damage control was you shut up and you let it blow by. They figured if they did that, and you notice the weird thing was, the thing that really says something about, they talk about secret cabals. You notice no media whatsoever. I mean, I brought it up days ago. I was like, this is going to get loud because you could see, the amount of traffic some of those posts were generating. They definitely said, and like I said, when I see accusations, I may talk about them, but typically with an accusation, like I said, accusations, they mean nothing. I do agree with that stance. They mean nothing. We're told about a dossier of people making accusations without, quantity of accusation doesn't mean anything either, just to be honest. But if the receipts, that's where it's interesting. There have been so the accusations. Now, he mentioned the Guardian. All right. Now, the Guardian stuff, this is where it starts to get interesting because you actually have places looking in. So give me 1 minute. Here we are. So this is a fascinating article. I thought we would. I started looking through it and I was like, "Ooh, let's read this ourselves." So, News UK hires lawyer to look at claims against former Sun columnist. He's accused of offering colleagues tens of thousands of pounds in exchange for, let's just say, illicit material. So the Sun's parent company has hired external lawyers to help investigate, quote unquote, very serious allegations regarding Dan Wootton's time at the tabloid, The Guardian has been told. So right there, you have lawyers. You're going to have, I'm telling you, there will be lawsuits. There will be a few of them. And this is where it gets fascinating because the Sun, I'm curious about this. All right. If it's true about the NDAs and stuff, the first thing that those external lawyers are going to be looking at is who exactly opened their mouth to report things to the police. I guarantee you they're looking out for their own interest. And if they actually had NDAs, if they paid people off, they will be looking at shutting those people down for violation of a non-disclosure agreement. Those external lawyers, too, they will be applying pressure. We've already had one of the accusers come out, and they didn't directly say that Dan Wootton had gone after them with lawyers, but they said everything but. They left it to, they might as well have said, we were sent a cease and desist. We were threatened with legal action. And I mean, that's standard operating procedure for any of this stuff. So I imagine the cease and desists have already been hitting people. It's funny, like people like myself, like I said, I'm not making any accusation whatsoever. I'm talking about things that are out there. Ah, and remember, that's okay. Actually, from Dan Wooten's side of things, anyway, accusations are okay to make. Remember, J.K. Rowling. You remember that whole incident where he set down 5 things that J.K. Rowling needed to answer because J.K. Rowling, he called her a Hollywood hypocrite and wanted Depp shot out into space because otherwise Me Too suffered. So, I mean, he believed in that. But Wooten is facing allegations. He used a pseudonym to secretly offer current and former Sun colleagues tens of thousands of pounds in turn for, let's again say, illicit material. So that's been, it's not just the accusation. It's the accusation, first of all, he was catfishing. But on top of that, there was the accusation that when he was going after Sun employees, when he was doing this business, why would you be doing that? Because it gives you power. If you're willing to pay somebody 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 pounds, I mean, we know there have been plenty of articles written on the adult entertainment industry. There are many, let's just say, professionals out there in that specific field. If he was wanting to, do some illicit material or whatever, I mean, there are plenty of people out there, and he could have done it for a fraction of that money. I'm sure Dan Wooten has groupies. He could have done that with them. So to put on a pseudonym cap, and pretend to be Martin Branning, and to go after your coworkers. Basically, the old adage about and where you eat. Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. But again, that's power. People get addicted to that power and they can do whatever they want. That's the kind of accusation you're dealing with. Rachel, thanks for the 5. Denying everything on air, does it change anything? People will speculate regardless. Actually, I think it adds to the fire. But with him denying everything on air, it says, oh, he noticed it. He noticed it. And this is the one time before with accusations that popped up, he's been able to dance around it. But so Rupert Murdoch's News UK has asked staff to contact its most senior lawyer if they have any information regarding the claims. They promise that all information will be treated in confidence. You can't trust them, by the way. That's how you get fired. That's how you get demoted. If a place has done that before, the accusations were saying they paid off people, NDAs and more. If they've done that before, you think that claims, you don't think they're going to try to shut you up with it. Yeah, tell everybody, all will be forgiven. Yeah, I'm sure. But offering counseling service to anyone affected and asking employees not to talk to journalists while inquiries are on the way. Now, do you notice that last statement? Don't talk to anyone outside of the company. That statement right there tells you everything that you need to know about this. There's the implied threat to that, because what happens when you do? Well, it comes with an implied or else. They always come with implied or else's. But employees were told the matters reported are obviously very serious and include allegations that certain actions of Mr. Wootton may have affected some members of staff at the Sun. The source at News UK said the company has also employed external legal counsel to advise and assist with its investigations. They're afraid they're going to be sued. That's what's going to happen. Again, what they're doing is they're circling the wagons because there is liability. There is culpability here. I mean, if you have somebody that can prove that this stuff happened, oh my God. I mean, if the Sun was told something like that happened, I mean, we are talking about nuclear option. Somebody, they have their wish list for Santa Claus. They can have anything that they want. And the company, they want to get ahead of that because they know their name is being brought up again. companies, when you look at normal blowback for companies, you notice they treat like tabloids, like the Sun. They treat all news as good news, right? All headlines are good headlines. Well, this is not a good headline. So Wootton also writes a regular column for Mails Online, which usually appears on Mondays and Thursdays. Maybe that's not the best name for the place to work with. I mean, all the allegations now, Mail Online, just saying, is that a pseudonym, Dan? Uh, oh my God. Hello, I'm Martin Branning, and I'm here reporting with Mail Online. Oh, Lord. The company has said it is looking into allegations against the presenter and would not comment on whether it would continue to publish his writings. Now, that's a big statement, too. It wouldn't comment on whether or not it will continue doing business with. Now, again, Dan Wootton has said in the past that when people are under investigation, they should be suspended. Again, let me read this to you. I want to stress this with this statement because the accusations, they are in full effect. You can see what's there. Dan Wootton's own words. With the current rumors and accusations swirling around about Philip Schofield, why is he still on our screens? That's Dan Wootton. Why have ITV not suspended him? Pending an internal inquiry, I would have thought in this day and age that a mainstream broadcaster such as ITV ought to be seen to be doing all it can to deal with issues like this, find out where the truth lies, and in the meantime, suspend those who the rumors concern. Fascinating, huh? Sue, thanks for the 7 months. Looks good on him. Taste of his own medicine, indeed. I mean, it's funny to see. I get a good laugh out of it, And again, that's not minimizing, there's a callousness that comes with accusations too, and that is an unfortunate side effect from false accusers. When they're pointing at it, I'm looking at the circus around Dan Wootton, but the accusations, they become words on a screen because you've seen so many fake ones, and that is unfortunate. That is an unfortunate. That's why the false accusations. That's another reason they have to stop, because people that things really happen to, if they go out and they tell the world about what happened. Remember, tell the world, Johnny. Tell them. Man. Yeah, you remember that one? Yeah. Carol thinks too. The black hole of wokeness sucking them all in now. Indeed. You want to dance with those people. Again, you want to dance with the false accusers, that's fine. You want to dance with people you have to continually apologize to and are going to be perpetually offended by every piece of garbage that comes up. Yeah, feel free to. But one day they will cancel you. Been saying that for a long time. I love repeating that because, again, these kind of lessons, they have to hit like a hammer. Because otherwise, these people, until they get hit with a hammer, they'll continue to look at you like your nails. Because that's what they do. Wootton remains on air, GB News, where he delivered a 6-minute monologue responding to claims on Tuesday night. He admitted errors of judgment in the past while telling viewers that he was a victim of a witch hunt driven by dark forces intent on shutting down GB News. Doesn't it sound... He... Oh my God. Driven by dark forces. Dan Wootton in The Accused. Dun, dun, dun. I mean, come on, man. Errors of judgment in the past, though. I do wonder what that little line right there means. Again, everybody does make mistakes, by the way. Again, I'm not saying everybody does heinous things, but everybody messes up, for sure. For sure. Everybody says something mean, you react. And social media and idiots, they will do anything they can to twist that. I remember At one time, we had a person that was making just nasty threats. This was back in 2019, where they were talking about coming to our home and stuff, just crazy shit. And I was like, well, would you make would you make statements like that if I knew who you were, if I knew all of that? They were like, yeah. And I was like, good. Well, you need to buckle up because I know exactly who you are. I know exactly where you live. I know everything about you. I know your job, and I've talked to the police about it. And that came up, oh my God, Tug's a doxer. Look what he said. He's going to dox somebody. And it's like, nah, buckle up. You say you're going to come to my house and threaten me? Fuck yourself, So again, people they will corrupt, manipulate, they'll lie. That's true. But the problem is people like Dan Wootton are many times the people that are corrupting and manipulating and lying. Naomi, thanks for the 10 there. He's vicious, uncaring destroyer. Indeed, he's been that for a long time, And, people say, well, I agree with some of the stuff he says. That fair enough. I've agreed with some of the stuff he said in the past too. The thing is that he wasn't reporting or giving opinion. He's leading people to jobs, careers. I mean, the presenter denied any illegal behavior, but did not directly address whether he had ever sent emails using the name Martin Branning. It is claimed that this pseudonym was used during Wootton's time at the Sun to approach many serving and former Sun employees with the offer of 5-figure sums in exchange for performing certain type of actions on camera. The Guardian spoke to 7 current and former Sun employees who say they received emails from Martin Branning, understood to be the alias, essentially, of... Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was going to say the alias of. But no, it's Martin Fowler and Matt Branning. So you put them together. That's why there was a typo in one of the discussions about what all of this came from. There was somebody who said Max Branning, and there was a lot of confusion. That's because combination of names. All claimed they were offered large sums of money in return for pictures. Just pictures, by the way. Large sums of money in return for pictures. So there's 7. Again, quantity of claims does not equal anything either. And the Guardian, I do not consider the Guardian reputable in any way, shape, or form. They're one of those garbage outlets. They love... they are right there with Washington Post, in my opinion, or the Huffington Post. It's bad when they're all the same, but in my opinion, they all are. But at the same time, since when did truth matter to Dan Wootton? Wootton confronted the claims head-on Tuesday night, blaming an ex-boyfriend with an axe to grind and suggesting social media and cancel culture had amplified the allegations. Remember, by the way, cancel culture. He brings up cancel culture, and I think this is actually a good place to... Give me 1 second. I want to insert this into the discussion because Dan Wootton, cultists again, he called everyone while talking about cancel culture. I mean, he went out of his way to make sure, when Depp was talking about how he was a victim of cancel culture, essentially. Well, Dan Wootton wrote this lovely, sterling piece. Johnny Depp is not a victim of cancel culture. He spent years trying to cancel Amber Heard and me. That's him playing the victim, just like he did there. It's the same freaking thing. When you've seen him go out for over half a decade, try to destroy somebody, it's like, no, they tried to destroy me. And it's like, no, that's not it. They wanted an apology for you calling them some pretty heinous stuff and trying to destroy their life. But yeah. And again, farce of a trial. Farce of a trial. That's the article where he throws in with Eve Barlow, by the way. Eve freaking Barlow, one of the worst freaking people out there. He decided, yep, got to throw in with her. So, cancel culture amplified the allegations. GB News host used the show to warn that, quote, revolting blogs that eschew basic journalistic standards are destroying democracy. I have been thinking much about the current state of social media, where any allegation can be made in an attempt to get someone canceled, but it's impossible to defend yourself against thousands of trolls. Again, the lack of awareness in what we see here is absolutely astounding. Oh man. I mean, these are things I like social media being combative to a point. I don't want Facebook and sharing pictures of kittens. I want to argue with people some days. I like Twitter like that. But I don't like what happened with Twitter. Again, it birthed accusation culture the way that we know it. It didn't birth false accusations. They've been around long time, long time. But the modern face of it, where you have the digital lynch mob, where people can go in and just destroy somebody just like that. Yeah, they do. This is Dan Wootton again, right in the middle of it. He was right there in the front, leading the charge. He said, I, like all fallible human beings, have made errors in judgment in the past, but the criminal accusations being made against me are simply untrue. And that is the problem with a lot of these accusations, by the way. They are indeed criminal accusations. And I'm not talking about the ones against him. I'm talking about the ones against many a person. If you look at what he backed, what we saw in that trial, you think about what was said. Those are the type of things that if a person was convicted of, we talk about prison justice dealing with people. These aren't life altering. These are life ruination. That's what that is. And again, when he's faced with that kind of thing, he's faced with the onslaught, it's a problem. But it wasn't a problem before. Bessie, thanks for the 2. Karma for Dan. Yeah, smack me and I'll smack you back. he, I don't know, man. Like when I see this again, so many of them have had this here, and it's fascinating to me too, just going back and looking at the people that a certain Aquaman starlet, going blast from the past, has surrounded themselves by. Isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, it is fascinating. And again, I want to get my hands on a redacted copy of that dossier. Yeah, I say redacted. They can leave out names because I'd like to see, they said there's around 30 pages that was turned over in the place that, quote unquote, broke the story, the one I covered the other day. They said, again, they turned everything over to the police. They had put together, everything compressed in it. But I'd like to see if it's all improvable. Because I'll tell you, if one of my work colleagues started messaging me, asking me for something like that, or if I was getting this random stuff and I knew that it was a work colleague, I would protect myself by keeping record of it. Absolutely, 100%. And I'm sure a lot of you would too. If you had a work colleague that was doing that, that would say that they think that you're vulnerable in some way, and they're either wanting something or they'll make an accusation against you. If they got it, they could make an accusation, anything. Just a minute. Another kid walking up. Hey kiddo, what's up?
What does human centipede?
That is a horrible movie. You will not watch that.
No, I want to know.
No, it is horrible. That is a rated R gross movie. You don't want to know about that, okay? Purge it out of your mind. Purge it out of your mind. You've heard a joke about something. Here, come back in a little bit, okay? I'm talking about something that's really horrible.
Is it inappropriate?
Yes, it's very inappropriate. Did you hear that? She said, what is human centipede? I was like, it's something you don't want to know about. We're not talking about that. No.
Yes.
No, it's terrible.
If it's a romantic movie, count me
It's
out.
a romantic movie. Yeah, it's a romantic movie. Just think about it that way. Yeah, exactly. Go upstairs.
That is gross.
It's a romantic movie. Yep.
I hate romance. I'm never watching.
Yeah, it's a romance movie. You just don't want to watch it. Romance movie.
Want pizza? Want
Uh,
pizza or
yeah.
chicken for dinner?
You want a pizza?
I'm asking you.
Do I want pizza or what?
Chicken.
What kind of chicken?
Chicken that's cooked.
Yeah, I mean, like what? No, I've got some stuff. You want a pizza?
Yes.
I'm gonna eat some protein. She's probably, that's one of the things. Okay, so um, in anything like kid stuff, you still have weird jokes that'll come up, bringing up things like a human. I saw a kid show the other day bringing up some like weird stuff, and I'm sure that's probably where it came from, or she saw an ad for like on a movie or something. But like, oh my god, a human centipede! I don't even want to. Yeah, if you don't know about that, by the way, that is you dodged a bullet. Essentially, it's a horror movie about this guy who kidnaps a bunch of people, and he decides to make a human centipede. So he chains them together, like body chains them together, backside to front side. It's yeah. Now the first movie is not so graphic, but the rest all anyway. That's not a conversation I have with a kid. I'm like, oh my god. So anyway, let's finish this part. He said, I mean, who doesn't have regrets? Should I be canceled for the many years later? Or do you accept that I've learned and changed? So, right here, too, a lot of people have said that Dan Wootton is apologizing for stuff he's done in the past. But again, we're not talking about behavior that has fallen by the wayside and that he shrugged off. I mean, if we're talking about behavior years ago, like for me, like with YouTube, I used to get in arguments and fights with other channels sometimes. I'm not saying I'm above that. I'll still fight with some people every now and then, but that's kind of stuff I don't really have time for. I don't enjoy very much anymore. That kind of behavior. If you're like, well, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. That's different, But what he's saying is he's talking about horrible stuff, and he brings this up. Who doesn't have regrets? Again, it's strange how that stuff comes up. It's almost like insulating when claims come up. Well, and again, is he saying also, I feel bad about falsely accusing people? Well, then say it, Dan. Say it. But again, there may be some liability in that, right? Bessie, thanks for 5. The bull shtick he said on GBN made me want to smack the taste out of his trunk. She's so freaking adorable. Yeah, she's funny. Like this stuff, he also urged people to ignore the cesspool or the cesspit of Twitter. Social media has become a race to the bottom. Again, this is the same guy that went on the offensive utilizing social media. This is one thing that these folks hate, right? In the past, journalists, the Taylor Lorenzes, I'm sure that the Dan Wootons, they could have gotten you and I suspended over anything. If we would have started talking about Dan Wooten and talking about the problems with him, I'm sure he had connections there, may still have them, So in the past, these so-called journalists, they had a lot of control over that platform. Now,
Never mind. I couldn't get the pizza box open.
bring me the pizza box. I'll cut it open for you. Now they don't have control there. I'll have to stop for 1 second again. I got to open a pizza box. But now, I mean, they don't. We've seen the leaks. Now there are plenty of I'm not saying that Twitter doesn't have its problems or anything, but now they are part of the masses. They are no longer immune to the grip of this stuff. They can no longer just sit on the sidelines and pretend, I've I'm better than. Now they have to get right in there. They can't keep their names from trending oftentimes.
Dad.
All right, here, bring that to me. Also, Jen, thanks for the 2 and the vibes. Here, bring that box.
I'm gonna let the viewers guess what the best movie, in my opinion.
The best movie, in your opinion, is?
Yeah, and if you tell them, I will throw away all of your collectibles and open them.
Okay. So, what do you think the best movie ever is, according to
In my personal opinion.
this personal opinion of this almost 10-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of movies do you love? You need to tell them that.
Horror!
Yeah, of course, it has to be a horror movie.
If it's not horror, then my whole personality would be gone.
Your whole personality would be gone?
There are 3 things in my personality, nothing more.
Godzilla 1998. Let's see.
Cute,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
horror, and
Pennywise.
creative.
Some people said it. You meant Centipede. You can keep that.
Nope. I would give you guys a hint, but that would just give it away.
Well, a lot of them guess. So here, this is almost open. Why don't you tell them what is the best movie ever made, in your opinion?
I'll tell them once this person decides. John is
John. Hey, John gave us 20 gifted memberships too. Can you say
Okay.
thanks to John?
Thank you, John.
John gave 20 before too. That's crazy. Here you go. Okay, what is the best movie ever?
The Grudge.
The Grudge. I hear you.
I like The Grudge because it's good.
Yeah.
But
The
if it was a
Grudge.
shark movie, it'd be the Megalodon.
No, The Meg or The Grudge. Okay. That's her choices. Best movies ever. You didn't see The Grudge? She's talking about the American version of The Grudge. There's actually a great box set of the Grudge films. It's from Arrow Films. There's quite a few Grudge movies. The Japanese versions, I like. They're good. I mean, I like the Americanized version of that movie too. But the Japanese films are great. So anyway, let's finish this here. So, sources at GB News told The Guardian that they felt like there was an uncomfortable atmosphere around his 9 o'clock show, but the presenter decided to directly address the allegations head on. But he also received supportive feedback from GB News viewers and some conservative MPs after suggestions that the allegations were part of. This is exactly what I mean right here. You see the statement here. When he suggested that all of these allegations were part of some... Okay.
And then I'm going
Go.
I'm going to make them guess my favorite video game.
Oh, no more tonight.
Yes!
Crazy. She came back for the box for that pizza.
It has instructions.
Yeah, I know. It has instructions on it.
And it didn't come out of the box.
I swear. They love that. They love the microphone. You can imagine. See, I can imagine when I was a kid. You know, you like attention. Can you imagine having the attention of 1,000 people or more? I mean, it's unreal. But anyway, so making the allegation that this is all a conspiracy that has been perpetuated by the left-wing political machine, that got support not only from viewers, but it got support from political players. Interesting, isn't that? I'm not saying that politics doesn't get nasty too. It very much does. And yes, there are people that will try to destroy your life based on politics. I've seen some crazy stuff, and Twitter related. Although to be fair, it was under old leadership that I saw some pretty bad ones that I think about. I saw some people arguing over what should be taught in schools, for example. And the guy that got really famous for Target toothbrush issue, he had issues with
Cool, Dad.
Oh, well, thank you. Now you need to go upstairs and take care of that pizza for real. Okay.
I already did.
All right. Well, just make sure. Did you set a timer?
Yes.
All right. Lost control today.
And I like Rainbow Friends.
I know you like Rainbow Friends.
Down here, green.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Let's see. Bessie, thanks for the 5. Kitty Ninja said that he's a Taylor Lorenz. They got called out finally. Couldn't have happened to a better person. The Grudge. Yeah, you on? I have it too. it's a good movie. I like it. When you look at politics, here's one of the things. Again, I don't care where you stand with politics too, but I want to make something very clear. When politics are being discussed, make sure that you are not fodder for some machine that gets nothing done for us. Make sure there's something in it for you. It's not and again, it does get nasty. People do destroy other people's life. Very true. That does happen. But in that, just don't blindly lockstep with folks. Again, they're like, oh, well, I couldn't have done all of that stuff. Why? Left-wing conspiracy. I mean, come on. There are many ways you can address that. But I mean, this is probably unfortunately, this is probably the best way to insulate yourself. It works. It works very well. At least for a little while. It'll even work if allegations become founded. It'll work for a while, because things were taken out of perspective, this or that. The problem doesn't become the mouthpiece to the viewership. What happens is the company themselves, if they find something, which you'll be able to see, I'm curious what the Sun ends up doing. See, they have a lot to lose in this game, but Dan Wootton is no longer part of their rank and file. He's not. He's a liability at this moment. And if they had to pay out money, see, here's where it becomes an issue for them. If they were shielding him while he was working there, they're going to have some real problems because there is no way to walk away from that. There's no way to walk away from giving payouts and actually getting caught doing that. That's going to, that's a mess. And that does happen, by the way. There have been many places that have done that or just fired people because they were being harassed. I mean, we saw a settlement from Warner not too long ago where definitely they didn't want a case to go forward, so they settled it out of court. And it definitely was an admission of their guilt. We didn't get to the point where we got to see everything, but it does happen. It very well does happen. And again, like I said, on the Dan Wootton side of things, making it very clear, I am not saying that he did something. I am saying that as someone that fully endorsed, listen, and believe, it shouldn't come to other people canceling him. He just cancel himself. 1 minute here. What's up, Carol? Thanks for 2. Not Tug. Hit the thumbs up, folks, for our friend. Indeed, thumbs up that thing. We're going to look at one other thing here, and then we'll be done. It'll be a short thing, too, because I think this is just funny, and we got to bring up one other thing. Tanya, thanks for the 5 there. Candy Pizza Fun, lurking again. Well, it's good to see you. Now, I want to... Oh, Final Destinations. I love those movies, by the way. I've got everybody's talking like horror movies. I love horror movies. Absolutely. So here, one other thing I want to bring up, because I think this is it's funny. I put all of our friend Chris Bouzy in the discussion because, well, let me just show you something. I like following the disintegration of Chris Bouzy, essentially, as he falls apart, as he goes after users on the platform. See, the user recently asked a question. They asked a question about why something didn't work here. Let's see. Why something didn't work on the platform. They were just asking, hey, what's going on? And when they asked that, the way that they were treated, well, it shows you why this platform doesn't do very well. I mean, some of the blowback, it would be like this person started asking questions like, hey, is this a social media platform or is it Chris Bouzy's personality or his personality cult? Because all of this blowback that they started receiving, I mean, it was wild to watch. Absolutely crazy stuff. I mean, look at this. I'm going to show you a little bit of this. What's up, Liz? Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you. Good to see you, Liz. You, John, man, I love it. Thank you. Like I said, thank you all. So check this here. So this is that person they were talking about everything going on. They're being told when they ask about stuff, they were like, head on back to the Dead Bird app and tell your hero Elon he failed in his mission. Whoa. When you cancel your account, I'll be glad to see the back of you. Again, for asking questions and being like, yo, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this was a gated community. Be grateful. We don't call the cops like you do when you see a black man. Why would anybody want to use a platform like that? Again, the owner. Could you imagine Elon Musk going after you and trying to ruin you as a racist? Like Elon will take jabs at people, every now and then and stuff. Could you imagine, though, of just a regular user saying, yo, there's a problem with the interface here. Like this isn't working or something. And this is the kind of treatment they get because of the owner. Go away, get out of here. And they were you said they were getting called Karens. They were getting, I mean, just insane stuff pointed their way. And then all of this, of course, it starts to have Bouzy involved. Bouzy's he starts banning people for anything. Again, this is banning people over questions of, hey, why isn't this working? And he puts out messages like this, but you'll notice the type of traffic that he gets. This is the owner of the platform, and he's lucky to get 300 likes on something. I mean, that says plenty about the platform, but he's like, Spoutable was built to be a welcoming space, except for trolls. Like we've been telling people forever, too. This is the same guy that many of these people, I'm not saying this person specifically, I don't know who they are, but many of these Spoutable users that are complaining about this, they were A-okay when this guy was using Bot Sentinel to give people like myself or yourself social credit scores based on nothing more than this guy's opinion of who you are, based on him either not liking you personally, him selling his opinion to the highest bidder, whatever. They were okay with that. They rubber stamped that behavior, but then it becomes a bridge too far. If you call the entire community a cult, you saw the thing there. What is this, a cult there? And then proceed to argue with everyone. It will end with people asking you to leave. Not because Spoutable is a toxic place, because the community knows when someone is only here to troll. Yeah. Gated community. So this ends exactly how you would expect it to end, too. Exactly how you would expect it to end. Give me 1 second here. Oh, and of course, you've got to get something like this. You've got to have the shot, too. So here's another one, too, from Bouzy before we get that one. The Karens and Kens can't handle the fact that a black man is running a popular Twitter alternative. It always has to be that. It's got to be taken to race. Somebody's like, hey, there's something broken. You get attacked for it. The owner attacks you, and you're like, hey, is this a cult? What's going on? Is it a cult of personality based on him? You just can't take the fact that it's a black man running. It's like, what? What? Are you kidding me again? Every single time, baby. What's up, K-Rab? Thanks for the 5. Twitter used to shadow ban you if you reported bugs and problems with the app. Yeah, people were getting banned when Elon Musk's pal that we talked about before, the one that got called out because they were totally fake. Yeah, that was a problem. And I'm sure there's still shadow banning and other stuff going on. It's just the owner themselves is directing this at you. They're not doing it in private. He has the audacity. Why would you want to build a platform that would do this to you? Because sooner or later, you will fall out of grace. It's just like I say, sooner or later, you will get accused of something somewhere. Yeah, sooner or later, you're going to run afoul of someone's ego. And when you do, will they ban you for it? Will they treat you like absolute trash for it? John, man, thank you for another 20 freaking memberships. Wow, John, that's crazy. 60 memberships already. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's like some of these topics are important topics. Well, this is a funny topic, but the other topic is an important topic. But they're also platform-wise. The platform does not like this topic that we're talking about. I'm going to show you the file. I'm pulling up the last thing here. You're going to have that and then a quote from Bouzy about what happens because he has to defend him going after people. So here is the way this plays out, of course. What do you think happens? If you're unspoutable, please get off there. They're taking a shot of theirs. Why? Because your account was permanently suspended from Spoutable. Reason? Disruptive behavior. They're the disruptive one because, again, they were like, yo, this is like a cult. It's like, you need to get out of here. This guy's a megalomaniac. He deactivated my account for asking about why features aren't working and then pointing out the deranged response. Again, hey, why isn't this working? Oh, well, if you don't like it here, you need to get out. What is this? Social media platform or a cult? Again, the argument for Spoutable, the reason you were supposed to go to that wasn't just because of anti-bullying and harassment, but it was supposed to be an alternative to a megalomaniac. Again, according to them, that's the way they describe Elon Musk. And I would venture to say that Bouzy is much pettier than an Elon Musk. Crazy enough, because if Elon booted every single person that ever criticized him at all, there'd be a lot of people on the sidelines. I'm not saying he doesn't boot people because his ego gets twisted. Oh, he does all kinds of stuff because of that. But Chris Bouzy is a paper tiger. Can't take anything at all. Now, Bouzy, of course, when this is going on, he has to continue talking smack. He has to trash them because he can't let it go, And what was funny about this is he talks about how, when there's a significant milestone. So apparently, I don't know what happened on Spoutable because I don't really give a shit like what about their milestones and stuff. But apparently, they had some significant milestones. Something happened there. And when it came up, is Chris Bouzy talking about it? No, he's focusing on this person that dared not lockstep. It's amazing. If I'm not saying you can't disagree with people either. I'll have discussions, even arguments with people on social media, and if they're herd simps, I'll laugh at them and treat them like crap. But people are welcome to disagree. That should be that's part of having healthy discourse and dialogue. You don't want to create an echo chamber. But he said, every time Spoutable has a significant milestone, some person comes here to start controversy so they can go back to Twitter to tweet about it. The entire time that person was trolling, she was taking screenshots and tweeting about it. Of course, my experience, if somebody like that wants to get in a slap fight with me, fuck yeah, I'm going to take it. Now, you know what? I'm going to monetize you too. I'm going to slap a big fat $sign on you, and I'm going to go to town because it's fun. We're going to have a good time with it. You're going to have fun times indeed. But apparently, and Bouzy's taking screenshots of this person the entire time, talking smack about them, using his own personal playground that he opened with donor bucks, by the way. This person he's turned on people that paid money to start this platform. That's nuts. He was, he'd get out the tin cup and he'd be like, jangle, jangle, baby, jangle, jangle, give me some money. And he would sell every time. Doubtable, again, Doubtable is fascinating to me, not just because of the illustration of, hey, this could be something that's good. You can have fun there, but also Doubtable proved that all of the items that he was raising money for, he'd go in and say, well, we got to get money for this feature or that feature. Those features were already built in to the less than $100 he spent from Go. But he was just making it seem like every single feature that came up, they had to be fundraised for. And when anybody asked questions about that, after they paid good money. If anybody at all said anything, they ended up in the crosshairs. That's why ultimately Suspoutable, I'll show you something real quick on this too. Like, this is fascinating to me. Vanessa, thanks to John S. He gifted 3 times. Again, yes, for sure. And congrats. As a mod too. Yeah, actually, John should have had the old mod thing for a while. I forget, like, people that are here, if you're here all the time, I think most people know what I would want here, So, but let me show you this. This is actually what the platform looks like, real time. So you don't have to take my word on likes and stuff. This is I've noticed, like, follower count hasn't really been growing that much lately. So when you look at the amount of traffic here, you'll notice a lot of the stuff. 62. Look at this too. Somebody was like, wow, only 329 of you have gone to the App Store to give Spoutable 5 stars. And he's like, no, there's more. See, again, the apps themselves, when the app released, it was like a meteorite crashing. It was right at the top, then it fell out of the top 10, the top 25. It just kept dropping and dropping and dropping. That's hard to track. Now with this, who knows? But I mean, you see it, like, he's reposting. He's like, hey, welcome here. 36 likes. I mean, again, unless it's him playing something up, it's sad. Like, some of the posts, again, I skip over them because there are people that post powerful things. They post them on every platform there too. And I'm looking at the guy who runs it. I'm looking at, like, this is that post. 265 likes. Again, it's by the guy who owns it. He directs all traffic to himself, And you see him piling on. That's what he spent that whole day doing, I mean, that's nuts. Why would you want to be part of that? And a lot of people are saying, you know what? We don't. we don't. And you notice Bouzy spends a lot of time on Twitter too. A lot of time there trying to get people to go to his platform, or he's talking about what happens on his platform, and everything he says there doesn't make more people want to be part of that. Again, to be honest, the type of platforms that we're looking at too, whether people want to admit this or not, Twitter is pretty much going to say at the top of the rung. And you know why? Because by and large, most people, like I said, if I wanted to, just get along and share cat pictures or whatever, I could go somewhere else. But Twitter has remained because people can't argue. You can get right in the thick of things. And it's a crazy thing. Unfortunately, it has birthed some horrible stuff, the stuff that ties into the first subject that we talked about too. But the only way to change that, the only way to confront that too, isn't just to shoot that off into space. It's to go in and to change it. When we're talking about one of the things that media actually admitted as far as the Depp case is concerned, they admitted through slander and, vilification, but they still admitted that people managed to put out truth. They managed to put it out through YouTube, through Twitter and other platforms. But mainly they quote Twitter, YouTube, And they say, you know, it changed part of the way that people looked at stuff. And then the case, of course, blew everything wide open. But they credit that. So the way to combat a lot of this is to confront it head on. It's not by the way, to get in the trenches and argue with, you know, useless mashed potato number 38. You know, it's going out and truly managing to sculpt conversation. I think a lot of people have done that. And again, the Dan Wootton stuff. I think you have to make it clear, like I do. I try to make it very clear. Again, we're not talking about my personal values when I laugh at Dan Wootton. My personal values, very clear. Don't believe accusations, because I can't. There have been too many of them that have been faked. Many real ones, but there have been too many fakes. But at the same time, his value system, his principles that he espoused, he should have to play by them. You shouldn't feel like you need to defend every jerk that comes along. And give me 1 second. Let me actually pull one other thing up. When I look at Dan Wootton and his stuff, you remember he was saying that over the last 2 years, he has changed, right? 2 years, he's learned. In those 2 years, everything's changed for him, okay? Well, again, this is a prime example. Depp, not part of cancel culture. He's not a victim of it. You see the dates. This is right when the trial's kicking up. So it's been going on. And when you roll through this, it's not just the same people he wants defending him are the same people that he tried to destroy. I mean, when you look at the statements here, you know, Amber is being subjected to inhuman attacks by a group of sick individuals called the Deppheads. Again, inhuman attacks, sick individuals. Then he talks about, well, you know, in my past, they even spread a lie that something terrible had happened to me. And that's why I actually agreed with her. He was like, I'm not a victim, which is fascinating, by the way. Then, you know, he goes after her again. You know, really, she's just a young mom facing bankruptcy and career ruin if she loses. And she's being attacked every single day. He called you cultists. But he also admitted that you effectively use social media. You effectively use it. But you see, trolls, all of that. And then he quotes people like Eve Barlow. So yeah, the guy wants folks like yourself. He told you, you know, I'm not part of the cancellation culture. I'm not part of the crowd that did that. There it is. And he didn't just take aim at that guy, like I said. He said, for years, you've been doing this. For years. And you look at all the weapons that were utilized to try to destroy, not that guy. Not a Depp, but we're aimed at people that ask for evidence. You're cultists. You're monsters who inhumanly attack, you know, because it's an inhuman attack to bring up evidence of something, because really the person that you were against, they're just a single mom just trying to get it done. Again, the narrative to this is absolutely unreal. I'm sure there will be more coming up too. I expect that we will have some discussion about this. If not tomorrow, I'm not going to say that we will cover that every single day, but I find this to be interesting. You know, I also find it, again, Wootton's name, as big as it is, this should be an explosive topic on platforms, but you'll notice not so much. I don't care though. We'll still talk about it. It's important. I find it, like I said, I find it fascinating. I also find it a good object lesson. It needs to be discussed, but you notice ghosting. So we'll see what happens with this live stream. Anyway, I'm going to call it here though. This has been a good one. I've enjoyed it. I will put the other one up on locals too. They're free to look at. You know, it's not behind a paywall or any crazy thing like that. If you want to support on locals, you can. But the reason I don't put them up right away, that live stream took 9 hours to process on the platform. Sometimes you can watch it, but for me to download it, it took 9 hours before I could actually download it. So when it comes around to the next day, I'm like, so much stuff to do. So anyway, I will catch you all on the flip side.